and say they are fighting insecurity, they are blah, blah, blah. The world does not take Nigeria serious. That's why when Nigeria mentioned that IPOB is a terrorist group, the UN, the US, UK told them to shut up. Because this is not rocket science. With, like the governor said, with your phone, with your geolocations, with common drones, you can locate where these terrorists are, supposed terrorists are. But there, when you have a gang of 200 men on motorbikes moving, you can easily locate them. Even with your ordinary Android phones, you can. So if the Ministry of Defense, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force cannot do this, something is wrong.
Oh well. So now, the problem we have is this. For any government to be 2 years in office and you have not been able to tackle the issue of insecurity, then you have no reason being in government. I say this categorically and very clear, succinctly so, in the sense that Section 14 sub 2B is very so written in lucid prose. Okay. That the primary reason why you, Tinubu, you are in government, the primary reason why you, Sanwo-Olu, you are in government, the primary reason why you, Dauda, Lawal, governor, whatever is in government, is to secure welfare and security. But you understand? Sorry to bother. Welfare and security. So if you cannot do that, then you step down. Barrister, but the governors have...
You see, this kind of line of thought and thinking has been very persistent. And it only points to the fact that in Nigeria, the so-called insecurity or terror attacks is orchestrated. In fact, Nigeria has no security problems, except the one that the politicians foist on the country. And that can be perceived from both from El Rufai's comments, that of the current governor, and what Nigerians see on ground. Nigerians see the military escorting these terrorists to commit atrocities. Nigerians see that, at the various places where these things have occurred, they have realized that the military will have checkpoints. A minute or maybe an hour to the time when these terrorists will strike, the checkpoints will disappear. Then the moment these terrorists have killed and maimed people, that same military will now come back and place their barricades. So the whole scam about this terrorism has been exposed. So Nigerians know that they now know that the governments are actually the ones orchestrating and perpetrating these terrorist attacks. And you now ask yourself, why? Why is a government whose sole or primary responsibility should be the protection of its population, why is it now neck deep invested in killing its people? And unfortunately, this is all for political reasons. And this has continued for years. That is why from the government of Muhammadu Buhari to the present regime of Bola Tinubu, the message to the communities which fall victims of these terrorist attacks, these banditry attacks, is go and negotiate with your killers. A most stupid and incredulous advice. And it has been consistent. So Nigerians should not be worried, or should not be surprised when the governor of Zamfara State spills out this. Because you ask yourself, who are the ministers for defense and who is the minister of state for defense? These are same characters which have repeatedly been accused by even the same governor that they sponsor and they orchestrate this violence. So when we say we are fighting insecurity, we are fighting violence, the international community laughs at Nigerians.
Can you say that also about what is happening in the southeastern part of Nigeria, where in the past 2 years we got a report saying that over 1,000 persons have lost their lives in that region? And
in that number is underestimated. And the reality in the south, because I live in the southeast, the reality in the south is this. On these roads, over on Nigeria, Port Harcourt, wherever, you will see a multiple of police checkpoints, security checkpoints, military, police, customs. When these calamities is about to befall the people, these checkpoints disappear. They totally disappear. And for the period when these killings are occurring, you don't see these rascal soldiers on the street. But then once the killing is over, you now see them come over, okay, we're coming to take care of secure the environment, which is crap. So in the southeast, it's even worse, because they engage in active shooting, active killing, using helicopter gunships to attack villages. And this is consistent. What I'm saying is not novel, it's consistent. So in the southeast, you have a situation whereby the government personnel come directly by themselves, or they use rascal elements like Asari Dokubo, who has severally come on air, even in the State House media room. He has said, I am the one killing the Igbos, water, and he mentions locations. He mentions locations where these killings are taking place.
What does this portend? What does it really portend?
What it portends is that, the government is executing a war against the population. Not just in the Middle Belt, where there's an active genocidal attack on the people, but also now in the southeast, which was, prior to all these insecurity attacks, was the most secure part of Nigeria by UN estimations. So you now ask yourself, why are you trying to destabilize the southeast? Why you have made the place almost unlivable. You have not put any infrastructural projects in the southeast. People have tried to do by themselves what they can do, and this same government goes about killing people, making all sorts of operations that are targeted not at security, rather at killing people. And you'll be surprised, in the southeast, do you know who enforces the Monday sit-at-home orders? Do you know who enforces it?
Oh, please.
It's the military and the police.
Also.
Good. Because people like us try to move out on the streets on those days. The same checkpoint will tell you, what are you doing? Go back home. This is a sit at home. I say, are you crazy? Nobody's enforcing these things. And this is the reality on ground. Yes.
Are you saying when you attempt to disobey the sit-at-home order, get into the streets to go about your business,
yes,
you get to a military checkpoint?
Yes.
And men dressed in military attire?
Soldiers, not men dressed in military attire. Soldiers, because you see the operational vehicle, you see the kind of armaments they have, and they tell you, what are you doing? You should go back home. On the converse, you also see criminal elements. Because clearly...
Can you be a lot more specific as to the area? Yes.
Good. Like along the Owerri, and there's a place called Ukwoji, along the Owerri Onitsha Road. Okay. Then the Owerri Port Harcourt Road, you have multiple checkpoints. And most of them actually disappear on that clean up Monday sit at home. But if you will see that will try to make your life not worth living for daring to be on the road. Perhaps in the cities, you will not even see policemen manning traffic checkpoints on those days. They totally disappear.
Okay.
So this is the reality in the South. So when you see these characters come out and say they are fighting insecurity, they are blah blah blah, the world does not take Nigeria serious. That's why when Nigeria mentioned that the IPOB is a terrorist group, the UN, the US, UK told them to shut up, because this is not rocket science. Like the governor said, with your phone, with your geolocations, with common drones, you can locate where these terrorists are, supposed terrorists are. But when you have a gang of 200 men on motorbikes moving, you can easily locate them, even with your ordinary Android phones. You can. So if the Ministry of Defense, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force cannot do this, something is wrong.
Oh well, Barrister Asim Adams, let's bring you into this conversation. Go and negotiate. We've heard that phrase. Go and negotiate with the terrorists and those disturbing you. We've heard that. We've also, heard other the youths have said, look, protect us. In Sokoto State, the youth have said, protect us, or we will pick up arms. What are the dangers of, insecurity, getting out of hand in Nigeria, or has it gotten out of hand already? Yes, you see, for me, I really cannot, place. I'm not a security expert. I don't need anyone to tell me that there's a palpable insecurity in Nigeria. I know that there is no place Nigerians are secured. Apart from banditry, you have some other, existential problems that we have that pertains to insecurity. For instance, I saw a viral video on where a trailer loaded with cement ran into about 10 or 11, bystanders, innocent people who were, waiting for maybe transportation to their various places. Now, on the other hand, I also read in Edo State where a particular trailer mowed down, some people, and one of them is the sister of one of a very popular actress. You understand? So it means that no Nigerian man is secured. So even when bandits are not, worrying or maybe disturbing your neighborhood, you should be scared of some other things that are happening around you. So now, the problem we have is this. For any government to be 2 years in office, and you have not been able to tackle the issue of insecurity, then you have no reason being in government. I say this categorically and very clear, succinctly so, in the sense that Section 14 sub 2B is very written in lucid prose. Okay. That the primary reason why you, Tinubu, you are in government, the primary reason why you, Sanwo-Olu, you are in government, the primary reason why you, Dauda, Lawal, governor, whatever is in government, is to secure welfare and security. You understand? Sorry to bottom. Welfare and security. So if you cannot do that, then you stand down. But the governors have said, look, though they call them chief security officers, they don't have the powers because they don't give orders to the police. That's a nebulous and plural argument. You do not have the power to collect security votes on a monthly basis. So if you do not have the powers of a chief security officer of a state, then what are you doing with the security votes?
Now, Barrister, let's take this thing down. Barrister, let's break it down a bit.
So what are you doing with it?
The governor said that he bought 150 brand new vehicles, and then he distributed his vehicles to security operatives in the state, and then he told them about the prone areas where these bodies attack the people from. But they keep on saying that they cannot do anything until they get orders or information or directive from Abuja where they are.
That is not true. That is not true. That is not true. But when a governor wants to protect himself and his family in the village, he does not need the consent and imprimatur authority of the president. If you go to maybe a governor's residence, his palace in the village there, you're going to see a coterie of armed, security men who are there, private and organized.
Okay.
Now,
it is true that the governor cannot even order the corporal in the police force.
I'm sorry.
Let me just the governor cannot order a corporal or a private.
We understand. We understand that.
The box stops with the hierarchy.
We understand that, but why the question I've asked is that pungently put, why are they collecting the security votes? If you cannot order a corporal, as you said, why are you collecting the security votes? That is the question I've asked. As the question, but nobody has answered that question.
No, it's simple. Now, if it's offered, you collect.
Oh, can you imagine that? That's corruption. It's all right. It's okay. Don't worry, sir. Let me just say. It's all right. Thank you very much. Let me land on my thoughts. So what I'm trying to say is that, you see, security is something that should be uppermost. In the echelons of governance in Nigeria here. No governor can come and tell me I cannot secure his environment or his state.
All right.
Now, let me tell you. The governor, like you said, feel like that. He said he purchased about 1,000 vehicles.
About 150.
About 150 vehicles. Yeah. Security is no longer like those people who used to hunt in those days. Security now, insecurity. Security has to be controlled by technological means. It's not by buying vehicles. It's by technology. For instance, coming to this place right now, if I want to use the e-hailing, a vehicle here, I don't know where they are placed. But I key into my phone. He tells me his location. He tells me how many minutes it will take him to meet me where I am. At times I'll be in my bedroom, the man will call me and say, I'm in front of your house. So you have to geolocate. Some of these bandits, they know where they are.
Exactly what the state governor said.
That's right.
Barrister Adams, we'll come back to you. I'm happy that we have 3 lawyers on the show so we can make sense of
absolutely.
different perspectives. Now let's go to Benin City, where we have Barrister Anthony Osola. He's a legal practitioner, public affairs and political analyst, standing by. Good morning, Barrister Anthony Osola, and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning.
Thank you so much. It's good to join you today.
Beautiful. Now, I'm sure that you have followed this conversation. The governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, says, look, I have the powers. If you give me 2 months, I can eliminate banditry, insecurity in Zamfara State because I know they are hideouts. But I don't have the powers. What kind of power is he talking about? Do you have an idea? Because, he's designated as the chief security officer of Zamfara State. But he says, I don't have the powers. How are you able to situate with all of that? How are you able to relate with all of that?
For me, I feel the governor of Zamfara State is, playing to the gallery. I see his statements as a political, rhetoric meant to sway the minds of, the people of Zamfara State that he appears to have genuine intention in fighting, armed banditry and insecurity in the state, but that he is only, handicapped because he's not, the one in charge of the federal, apparatus when it comes to security. But I beg to disagree with him on that.
Okay.
This is a man who is saddled with the responsibility of the preservation and protection of life, which he has sworn, when he took oath of office to defend the people of Zamfara State.
Okay.
I do not think any person who is serious in tackling insecurity needs first to state it in the pages of newspaper and to the social media. Let him walk.
Okay, all right. Barrister Sula, I hate to butt in at this moment, but I just have to because I want us to get things clear. Now, the governor says, I don't have the power. You know that the governor is not in control of the State Commissioner of Police, is he? You know that the governor is not in control of the DG of DSS, the director of DSS in his state. Yes. He is not in charge of the brigade commander of any of the military commands, any of the military outposts in Zamfara State. And when he says, I don't have the power, you can recall instances where there were skirmishes in particular states and the governor calls the commissioner of police, please, can you step in? And the commissioner of police says, excuse me, sir, I need to get permission from Abuja and all of that. So where does that leave the governor of a state in the security architecture?
Yes, that's exactly what I am saying. Like I said before, I only feel that the governor is just playing political rhetoric. He need not tell us all this. We already know it. Okay. What we expect from the governor of Zamfara State, he can go to Abuja and meet with the president and tell the president the pressing needs of insecurity in his state. Let him work with the IG. Let him work with the director of DSS. Let him work with the Nigerian military and the Nigerian Air Force. You don't need to come on pages of newspapers and hold the social media, as a social media world press conference and begin to tell us that I can end banditry and insecurity in my state.
Okay. Now, Mr. Sula, I think we are generating more talking points here.
What you can do, give it the opportunity.
Okay.
That simply shows that it's a government that is not working.
Okay.
They can go to Abuja and do all this synergy without even letting the people of Zamfara know.
Okay,
let him come back and tell the people of Zamfara that he has ended insecurity and banditry.
Now, Mr. Osula, what should be the relationship between the central and the sub-national government in terms of fighting insecurity in a state? We hear the governor say, excuse me, sir, we hear the governor say, we need to be in control of the state, of our own police, we need state police. And the federal government says, look, the process is ongoing, and the process has been ongoing since the beginning of this republic. So, how do you now hold the governors responsible for the insecurity in their states, when you know in actual fact that you admitted that, look, they are not in control of the state security, the apparatus of the state security apparatus in their states? You rightly said, if he's interested, if he knows what he's doing, he has to go to Abuja, meet with the IG of police, meet with the president, meet with the DG of DSS. Should he do that? Why can't we decentralize all of these things so that we don't get to hear, look, I'm not in control? I just cited, in fact, let me go to Enugu State. During the Ukwabi Nimbo killing, the governor put a call to the state police commissioner. The state commissioner said, excuse me, let me get orders from Abuja. The governor put a call to Abuja, and he was kept on hold for close to 6 hours. So, what kind of security agreement is that? So, should we hold the governors responsible for what happens in their domain in terms of insecurity?
See, what I'm saying in actual fact is that what are we going to do with the statements of the Zamfara state governor? The people of Zamfara, what are they going to do with that kind of statement? Are they to applaud the governor and sympathize with him? That our governor cannot really work on insecurity because he's not getting the needed cooperation in Abuja, or because he's not in charge, of the federal mind when it comes to security apparatus in this country. What I am saying, rather than resort to social media, go to Abuja and do the needful. What you were elected, when he was doing electoral campaign promises, he promised the people that he's going to end banditry and insecurity in the states. We need not be on social media making complaints as if he's handicapped.
When you say he should go to Abuja and make us, and beg them to, do the needful, are you also saying that the people of Zamfara should migrate also to Abuja? Because from the look of things, it's more like even the call from Abuja is not coming in. Okay, what I'm saying is in fact that, there's this particular report where some persons have actually come up to say that even the military, when they want to act, some persons who happens to occupy better seats in higher echelon will say you don't have to do it. These are actually information coming up from both the military and other security agencies that we have in Nigeria. Is going to Abuja now going to solve this problem? Will the people of Zamfara move to Abuja for their life to be secured?
The governor of Zamfara State has not informed us at anywhere. At least I have not heard that he has not gotten the needless synergy from the Nigerian military and the Nigerian Air Force. But what I am saying is that his statement amounts to nothing. There's still insecurity in his state. What we want is actions and results. Let him come back and tell us that he has been able to achieve certain results one way or the other. He's a solution provider. He's put there to bring a solution and to end insecurity, not to come to social media and start complaining. If the government is complaining, if given the opportunity,
thank you very much, Barrister Anthony Osula. Thank you very much for your contribution. Barrister Singh.
I wanted to add something to what my colleague in Benin has said.
Okay.
And to tell you that the excuses of the governor or the governors in Nigeria has no place. It's of no moment. Now, let me tell you why. Section 162, there is no governor today in Nigeria that does not know about Section 162. From the first subsection, about revenue allocation. I get my point now. These same governors are saying that are helpless when it comes to insecurity and control in their state, are not helpless when it is time to dip hands into the allocation
you seem to be
of local governments.
About the revenue.
No, I'm talking about the
revenue itself.
If you do not, yes, of course, if you do not have anything to do, there is no need for you to begin to collect that particular, allocation on a monthly basis. Which is better. It's very important.
Sorry, you have an international audience. You have to correct this issue.
I'll come to you. We'll come to you.
That's right.
Now let's talk about a governor is saying, look, I can solve it, but I don't have the power.
Absolutely.
Another governor is saying that, look, don't talk about insecurity. Media, don't talk about insecurity. And I'm talking about the governor of Kwara State.
Okay.
So don't talk about insecurity because you're making the government, you're making his administration look bad. What do you make of that statement? Is that utilizing his powers?
That is asking the media not to talk about
asking the media, yes.
No, it is wrong of him. Section 22 is very clear of your 1999 constitution, gives you the powers as the media organizations to hold government responsible.
Now, the governor of Kwara said that we are solving it. We are working on it, so don't talk bad.
No, he cannot say that is gagging the media. He cannot gag the media because you have that particular powers given to you has been given by Section 22 that says that The media, you mentioned the media, highlighted the media, that the media has that responsibility to hold government at all levels accountable and responsible. So it is your right to talk about anything at all as it pertains to politics. So you cannot argue.
All right, then. Let's bring Barrister Insecurity into it.
Thank you very much.
Want to react? Go ahead.
The reality is that the Nigerian Constitution places police, the military, and munitions under the exclusive federal legislation list, which means state governors, local government chairmen have no access or no rights to issues of police and ammunition. Now that handicaps these governors. The security votes, like I said, is money given, they take it. But in terms of what Barrister is saying, what I understand by what he's saying is that security vote has been given, so it should be used to solve security issues. How? When you cannot even talk of weapons without the police coming in. And let me tell you something. The
logistics. I'm talking about logistics.
The governor of a
you
state.
can aid the police.
Sorry,
you don't have to. I have to vote in. I'm sorry with due respect. Sir. You do not have the power to acquire ammunitions.
Okay.
It is because of that. That is why you see some of the governors will intervene by doing what? Buying, vehicles for them.
Same thing.
So you understand the point now?
Okay.
So there's a way you can collaborate with them. You understand? So you
are playing around this issue.
That's what.
There is evidence severally that this military, the police, are not even interested in tackling this insecurity in the states. The military only defend even their bases. When the NDA was attacked, the military only defended. The soldiers who were sent in pursuit said, we are seeing these people running. They were told not to move. So the reality is this. The governors do not have, yes, the answer is Chief Security Officer of the state, but that's part of the scam called the Nigerian Constitution. It's a fraudulent document that gives him the title of Chief Security Officer, but no control over one bullet. If you have a gun today, you need to get approval from the Nigerian police officer of police headed in Abuja. Now, when the governor says he cannot, he knows what to do, but cannot do it, he is very, very factual. Even as an individual, I know what to do to address insecurity in my community.
Okay.
But I cannot do it. What can I do? There are $1,000 vehicles, which are these drones, which are weaponized, which you can buy. And with that, you can locate physically where these characters are. But what you see, the Nigerian government, the customer will seize it when you buy it. And they will not deploy it. So please stop blaming these governors.
Okay, let's look at it. Will it make a difference if the governors get to become in charge of the state police, of the police in their state? Do you think it will make a difference?
That is presuming. Even the governor himself wants to address security issues. Like in Imo State, if you make Hobos or in charge of security, we are still where we are. Because if it's the governor or an elected leader that was not elected by the people, you are still where you are.
Okay, so basically, you don't think that the security architecture is the issue.
No,
the issue seems to be with credible leadership.
Credible leadership, and why I say it's not the issue is this. In the state, for instance, in other democracies, you have federal setup, you have the state, you have the local government, you have the county, each armed, so that there is no way they can all collude at the same time to distort security issues. In the United States, the school I attended had security, had armed guards. You cannot say because you are federal police to come and steal, or you come and encourage terrorists to come and infiltrate the school, your head will be blown up. But you have in Nigeria a situation whereby it's just the man in Abuja. That is why, for instance, like the governor of Enugu State's call was not picked up for over 6 hours. And that's why they still tell the people, they tell the communities who have been devastated to go and negotiate with terrorists. So the issue is not the governor being the Chief Security Officer of the state, but is embedded in our constitution, which empowers the man at the center with all powers, leaving the constitutional part of Nigeria with absolutely no powers. A state governor does not have a control over its orderly. The orderly of a state governor is delegated by the State Commissioner of Police, who is appointed from Abuja. So even the governor is not even sure. You might be told to, okay,
so what's the way forward now? What's the way forward?
Is the constitution.
It's not the constitution. It's my point of divergence. I agree somewhat with what we are saying.
Yes.
But my point of divergence is that being realistic and being practical, as the case may be.
Agree.
The question I've asked is this.
Yes.
I've seen governors, like in River State where I come from. You understand the point now? I remember there was a time, the governor of River State said, I have a security workout plan.
Yes.
I know that without consent from the federal authorities, I cannot execute it.
Good.
He took that plan to the president. I said, Mr. President, under your powers, can you unleash and let me take advantage of this and secure my neighborhood?
Yes.
And what might happen? Militants that were there, they ran away to Lagos State. Most of them Because if you look at what happened, kidnapping started first of all on the Nigeria Delta.
Who was the president then?
I'm coming.
Who was the president then?
I don't want to call the name, but he's the president. It's the same constitution that we operate today that was operated as at that time. You understand the point now? But the government at that time meant well for the state. He felt that this was giving the state a bad name and a bad record. So now what he did was
the impression that we more like aligns with Barrister.
Yes.
The fight for insecurity is discretionary.
That is what they are doing.
Now my question is, what if the president at that time chose not to take that?
Then you don't know. Then you cannot explicate yourself from that particular whatever.
Exactly, that is what
look at what is happening.
Governor
He has not.
for.
See, listen, with due respect.
Okay.
He came on. He said, "I know where these people are." He has not told us he has gone to the presidency and he was denied.
He said, "I don't have the power."
No, what I'm saying.
Must go to the president.
You don't understand. I gave an example. Excuse me, I gave an example of the Rivers State government as at that time.
Yeah.
What happened was this: militancy was the order of the day. I remember in Rivers State, Port Harcourt, you cannot come out in the daytime to drive a classic car. Now the governors at that time knew that he was impeded by some constitutional provisions, and he could not order people to
so basically the constitution was a problem.
What's the problem? Wait, what he did, he went beyond. He went beyond. I'm asking them now to go beyond the constitution.
How far do you want them to go, Barrister?
Prepare a roadmap. Then you take it to the president. If you not say I'm not taking it, then we will not know what to do.
The traveling president like this one,
I think we can all agree that the constitution itself is a problem.
It's not a somewhat a problem, but not wholly. Okay. That is my take.
We have names of terrorism financiers being given to the government of Nigeria by some persons who have actually done the, well, I said and bring it to
we have discussed this over and over and again today. If you want us to discuss and profile it, I've said that was very wrong. Of the Buhari administration and even this particular administration, they're not taking those people to court or prosecute them. But in this case of insecurity, the governors are blaming the constitutional provision, which we already know. Before solution, what are the solutions? That is what we should look at now. People are dying. Are we to amend the constitution immediately and wait for people to die?
Before we take proactive action. That is what I'm trying to say. Christopher Musa has said that, look, learn self-defense.
But he denied it. He said he didn't ask us to carry weapons as case may be.
We heard him.
See, let me tell you.
He said learn self-defense.
That's right.
All right.
Do you know what happened? Do you know how the governors at that time, when soldiers invaded under the authority of the president, soldiers came to Port Harcourt, and immediately it was like a state of war.
Who sent the soldiers?
You understand? That's what I'm trying to say, that this particular governor should be as proactive as that governor was.
Thank you very much, Barrister Adams.
You don't see that and say you are there because of your constitution.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, and this is an ongoing conversation. And I hope that we can talk about it some other time, because it's more like developing. Governor has said, another governor might just come up to say something another time. But the issue borders on, we have agreed, the analysts have all agreed that, look, we seem to have a problem with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What to do with that is up to Nigerians. Well, let's move.
They recall that the president somewhere in Brazil, made the president of Brazil to know that there's no longer corruption in Nigeria. Say Nigeria is now a corrupt-free nation. That
was a huge joke. Nobody took that statement serious. And then when we look at the EFCC is talking about procurement issues, it's not just procurement of in terms of contract or infrastructural issues, but also procurement of personnel. When you talk of procurement, it also you have to employ staff and buy stuff. You now ask yourself, how was the EFCC chairman himself appointed? Was his appointment legal? Was it within the normal framework of the laws of the EFCC? I mean, that is the root cause. So you have a look at himself who was not, because the EFCC Act provides that he must be an officer of the rank of commissioner of police or thereabouts, and then from nowhere, a man gets picked up and is made the EFCC chairman. That's where even the issue starts. When this government came into office, the very first project the government launched, the East Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, without any process. I'm not even talking of due process. Without any process, it was handed over to a character, and then without even environmental impact assessment. They didn't even know the proper route or the channel the road will go, because they destroy a house today. The next day they say they are sorry. So the man is talking to, he's working in a government that procures personnel without due process, issues out contracts without due process, and he's here talking about procurement. Come on, give us a break. Nigerians are not done dense. Let this remove the log in your own eyes first. The photo of Nigerians. So the reality is this: yes, no doubt, the issue of procurement is part of the problem, but it's more deep-rooted, and it's not only restricted to contracts. How are the staff recruited? How are the ministers allocated? Does it fall in line with federal character principles? Because if they are laid down provisions of the law, you must try to abide by it. I mean, when you look at only the figures dished out as contracts, or how contracts are applied for, the contracts are applied for based on who was employed as ministers or as EFCC chairman to oversee these things. So once there is a defect, an issue from the very first onset, all else will crumble.
All right, then.
With regards to the Transparency International assessment of Nigeria, it's nonsense. You know why I say it's nonsense? Receiver and taker of both the receiver and the giver are also culpable. Now, Switzerland should, in my own estimation, should be the most corrupt country in the world. Reason
because that's
why all the billions are done from all over the world. But they have this crazy corruption percentage index that they say African countries are the worst. They are not the worst. The person who receives billions is the most corrupt. Perhaps after Switzerland, you talk of Luxembourg and maybe Great Britain. Don't talk of Nigeria. We're only stealing blood and taking over there, but they are receiving. Okay. So he should he should stop talking of corruption perception index or castigating others and look at the EFCC and Nigeria.
We're working within a limited time frame for this conversation. Let's get to Mazi Amobi now. Let's bring him on. Mazi Amobi, let's have you join this conversation. You left us and ran somewhere. Well, he joins us virtually now. Mazi, let's have your take on this.
Yeah, the issue of corruption has been overflowed. Corruption is one aspect of our life that has endangered the growth and development of this country. Administrations come and they pontificate on what they want to do about corruption. Some few months and years down the lane, they begin to prevaricate. You know what I'm saying? Many people have accused the present dispensation of using EFCC as a political tool. The important thing is that we have rendered the institutions weak and then made the individuals very, very strong. Until we reverse to making the institutions strong and the individuals weak, we cannot talk about fight for corruption. Okay. The other time, because of the plurality of Nigerian society, it is very difficult to fight corruption. If you bring somebody from the north, for instance, Tambuwa, they say, no, he's a political opponent. It's because he's from the north. If you bring somebody from the south, no, why is he now doing it from the south? He's, if you bring a Christian, no, they are, persecuting the Christians as against the Muslims. So what I'm saying in effect, because of the heterogeneity of this society, it becomes very, very difficult to fight corruption. Assuming Nigeria is a homogeneous society, these things can be played down. But in a heterogeneous society, it becomes, people will almost always, linked to certain things to begin to floor the anti-corruption crusade. Generally, the Nigerian state, the president, the government in power should be able to be a little bit more transparent in this fight against corruption. Corruption is a cankerworm that does no one any good. Unless you take out the issue of corruption, even the whole process of procurement, like my colleague in the studio has said, it's very broad.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, let's get this. Let's go to Barrister Anthony Osola. Let's have your take on this one very quickly, please.
Well, corruption is a recurring decimal that has eaten deeply into the fabric of the Nigerian state. It is a discussion that always comes up, at every household or at every meeting. Well, I must applaud the EFCC chairman. I'm not really concerned, like the other guest speaker has talked about the relevancy as to how he got his appointment, but he has pinpointed something that is very crucial in our Nigerian state.
I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted your view, but I'm forced to do so at this point. Applauding the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede. Remember, he did say that he was going to prosecute Yahaya Bello or resign from office, but he's not been able to prosecute Yahaya Bello, and neither has he resigned. Has he given up? Has he accepted his fate? Has he accepted that aspect of corruption can live with the people?
Well, the EFCC, under our laws, is part of the justice system, and the EFCC chairman has done his investigation, and they have filed a charge against Yahaya Bello before the Federal High Court. And I believe at that stage, there's really nothing he can do other than wait for the court verdict. He has the EFCC prosecutors, and arrays of witnesses that are there to give evidence in respect of the corruption allegation charges against the former governor of Kogi State. At this stage of our judicial jurisprudence, he has to wait for the verdict of the court. So
what are you applauding him for?
At this point,
what are you applauding him for? We have to be serious with ourselves.
Let him wait for the court verdict.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Anthony. Barrister Anthony, go ahead.
We are coming to Nigeria.
You see, the point is this. You see, I understand my own colleagues' anger with the system.
I don't have anger. It's reality. What are you applauding him for? He's done a bad job because he's in the wrong way, and you're applauding him.
I see. Let me say, with due respect, corruption is as old as Nigeria. I remember when I was writing my, WASC, we used to call it in those days. So I was going through some past question papers of WAEC. There was one particular topic that touched me even till tomorrow. He says, corruption is a canker worm that has eaten deep into the fabrics of the nation called Nigeria. Discuss 35 marks. That is as far back as at that time. So if by this time we are unable to, eliminate or maybe reduce corruption, then I believe that we are not moving forward. The government of the day, the last government, and even this particular government, they are not serious about fighting corruption.
All right.
The EFCC, for me, they are doing their best by arresting Yahoo boys and prosecuting them. But I want to ask a question. There is a procurement act, and that particular procurement act, gives condition. If you go against it, you are supposed to be prosecuted. How many people have been arrested and prosecuted based on procurement fraud, as the case may be? These are the things we want to see. You understand the point? So, but I know that if they say they are fighting corruption, they are not fighting corruption generally. The way it should be fought.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Asim.
You see, I disagree with Barrister Asim on this. Barrister Asim Adams and the other one who spoke over the phone. And you see the other barrister Eze Aluchi. Is the one, the elderly man there who at least he done justice to this. He understands the system. You see, but these two of them, I disagree. But I try to bring the governor that it is the governor. Governor, this has nothing to do with social media. The governor is not looking for recognitions that he will come and just talk on social media. This has nothing to do with social media. Talking about insecurity, that one you're talking about government coming on social media to make statements. No, the governor is being is telling you, is being factual here, telling you, I know these people. I know where they are. I know their movements. They goes to the market. I can track them on my phone. Even I can show you on my phone here. But I do not have the capacity to command the security agencies in the state on what to do. Simple. Everybody knows that he can't. State governor, when it comes to security and many other things, they are handicapped. They can't do it. This has to do with constitutions that we'll be talking about, that they need to revisit the constitution. It has a lot to do with constitution. It's not as if the state governor, the only thing they could do that they can have access or they can have control over is where you see some of the governor, they are setting up security, they are setting up different security groups that this is their own. They set it up, they can control them, they can command them, they fund them. Do you understand? But this is federal government, state policing, so it cannot work. They don't have control. It was the same thing. This CPR, what is this man named Lagos State, who once said to Lagos State governor. He said, no, I'm sorry, I don't take orders. I say I don't take order from governors. I take order from my boss from Abuja. That's what he said. And this is, you said, okay, well, have you tried to take your template, your structure, your security outlook strategy? Are you taking it to Abuja to say, must he go to Abuja? Must he go to Abuja? No. And even if he goes to Abuja, if the security, if this is not of their benefit, they can't do it. It's not as if they can't. The security agency, they cannot really fight the security because there's political issues, underlying political issues. That has been the problem. How can somebody who has been accused of this, linked with insecurity, eating or dining with insecurity, be found in government, in Tinubu's government, being a junior minister or being a minister of this thing? Somebody that's been accused. This governor have accused that one before, that he knows about the insecurity. He knows them. They come to his bedroom, they eat, they dine together. Nothing has been done. Yeah, Tinubu went ahead to appoint him as a minister. So what do you expect? Is that person that Tinubu is going to appoint or give marching order to the security to go and fight them? No, it's not going to work. This is the problem. Do you understand? So you are making reference to Rivers State then, that you take the governor, then the then governor and the then president. You don't tell us the president. You cannot compare this president now to the president then. That president was, he feel the pains of the people. He believes in your security architecture, how you plan to solve the problem. He truly want the problem to be solved. He listen to you, give you the go ahead to do whatever you want to do. This government, does it look like somebody who cares about the welfare of the citizens? Does it look like somebody who cares about insecurity in your state? Do you know how many times before this man could come online, come on air to say this is the plan, this is the situation? Maybe he has been calling them, they are not responding, and he said it. That he has been telling them they are not ready, they are not doing anything, they are not taking instruction, they are not ready to do. They are not ready to do. If they are ready, if the governor has not been to Abuja or been to see the Abuja, the government, this security, the commissioner of police in Zamfara state, that they have been telling, can't they pick up your phone and call your boss to say, this is what governor is saying? Oh. Governor say, I have information. Oh. This is it. Oh. Please, what do we do? Can't they call the state police? Call Abuja. Must governor go to Abuja? Has the commissioner of police in Lagos, in Zamfara State, or the military, military personnel, the guy in Zamfara State, has he done that? No, because they are not ready to. We've seen a lot of videos of the junior army many times. They said they're giving order not to fight these people. See people that is, I say, how many are they inside this bush? Give us equipment. We'll go inside the bush and make sure we dismantle everywhere. We pursue all of them out. But they said the military is telling them not to go after them. So what do you want governor to do? I've told you before that to solve the problem of insecurity, somebody who has in hand connection with these people cannot be the one to solve it. This administration of Tinubu, a lot of people working in this administration have connection one way or the other linked to these people. So this government cannot solve the problem. It's somebody who does not have hands, he does not have any connection, he's not in affiliate with these people, he does not know them. It's the person that will fight the people. So if Tinubu is serious, when governor said this since yesterday, or if the inspector general police or the chief of defense staff, why are they not calling, work with him? He has information, like I did in the first video. That's the first class information. Let them work together, but they are not ready. For him to have come to say that he has been disturbing them, they are not ready. So he feel the pains of his citizens dying, but he cannot do anything. He just wanted to know the citizens know that this is beyond his control. It's not as if he's happy seeing people die, and nobody should blame it that much. They should blame federal government. It's federal government you should blame, of course. So yeah, they has access to security, the money, welfare, this and that. They buy security, buy a vehicle, whatever. But we're talking the real weapon, the real deed, those things. Even if he buy them, they can't control them to go and shoot somebody or to go and do this. No, that is a problem. It's not to buy. Even that say buy. If Abuja will call, say hey, that motor, do not drive it out. They say governor cannot allow you, cannot ask you to drive and your boss is driving. It doesn't make any sense. So we need to, the state governor is not as if, some of them, yeah, I'm not saying they are not doing enough, but for this, is a state government, is a federal. So, anyways, what do you think? You're talking about this man, EFCC chairman, that one. Let's just leave this government and his members working for him. Whatever they like, they should do. Is that one? Does it look like somebody who is fighting corruption? Who is truly fighting corruption? Is that how to fight corruption? You are fighting corruption, be biased, you're fighting corruption. No, that's not how to fight corruption. So it's like the other man said, we need to give power to the constitutions, to the institutions, and make the individual becomes weak. That is the problem. Now, individual is so powerful and weaken the constitutions, and not constitution is working. The institutions are not working. One individual weaken the constitution, all of them are now working for him until we wake up again to make sure our constitutions, institutions are working. Then we make the power of individual become weaker. That's the only way forward. But for now, EFCC, well, just forget that thing. Just forget it. Anyways, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please, I'll be your guy. Run on for me now.